What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the Verified AMA. My name is Lawton Ho here with Verified Investing, and I go live every single day that the markets are open from 12:30 to 1:15. Sorry about that, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. I don't have my lower thirds with me today, but it's okay. If you want to ask your question, right, the way that this works is that you guys ask questions and I give you guys answers. And the way you can ask questions and submit them to me is by going to the verifiedinvesting.com homepage. So if you want to have any questions that you'd like answered, go to the verifiedinvesting.com homepage, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. How's everybody doing today? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Let me change this background. How's everybody doing today? What questions do you guys have for me? Let's see. Screen. I don't see an option to submit questions. Give me 1 second. So you guys might be trying to ask questions, but I don't see a place for you guys to ask questions. Homepage. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to try and get that fixed for you so you guys can ask questions on our homepage. So sorry about that. But anyways, let's go over kind of the market, see what's going on. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, let's see what's going on. So you see the S&P had a positive day today, up about 0.5% in today's trading action. The question is, everyone wants to know, is where is there going to likely be resistance on the S&P? And that's a good question, right? You got to kind of, and I talk about this all the time, whenever you're talking about things at all-time highs, you're constantly drawing trend lines. So unsurprisingly, we are going to be drawing some trend lines, trying to find out where exactly price is likely to pull back. So let's zoom in a little closer here. See if I can get this right for you all. Up here. Yep, through that high pivot. Okay. Wow, look at this beautiful trend line, guys. And my dev team is working on this as we speak, I hope, so that you guys can submit your questions. AMA doesn't really work too well if you can't ask questions, so working on that. So you take this pivot high here from the 6th all the way through this pivot high here to the 6th of December 2024, 6th of January 2022. And where do you see this trend line heading? Right here at this spot that we're at right now. All right, guys, you can refresh your homepage and you should be good now. Should be good. Should be good, guys. Should be good. If you go to the verifiedinvesting.com homepage and refresh, you should be good to go. You see here, verified AMA. Okay, it should be good now. All right, I have my lower thirds now. All right, there you go. So anyways, we're good now. Everything is working. We're all fine. Everything's good, guys. Okay, so scan that QR code down below to scan the QR code down below to ask your question. Okay. All right. We're good. Sorry about that, guys. I apologize for the mishaps. Okay, we're good. That kind of rattled me a bit. I apologize. All right. Christopher says, can you please give me support level on IQ? Sure, absolutely. IQ, this is the Chinese Netflix. This is a stock that I like. You had this nice down sloping trend line you broke up and out of. I think a retrace to this trend line will be a great level of support for IQ down here around right here around $1.90. Okay, $1.90. Okay. So if it comes down here, we should be good for a bounce. We're having a lot of technical difficulties today. I know that the title of this might not say verified AMA. They might say with Lawton Ho, but I hope you guys know what this is. Okay. All right. Nathan says, all right, it's working. Let's go. All right. Tesla. Oh my God, Tesla. What is going on there? Amazing question. So Tesla came down. Why? It came down off of poor earnings. We saw that after reporting earnings came down 6% and fell all the way down about 10%, right? But look at today. Today, Tesla moving up is up about 5% from yesterday's close. Now, the question is, why is that? Well, I'm not sure exactly why. I wish I could tell you, but I did see that Elon Musk was talking about Tesla becoming a $30 trillion company. Considering it's just around $1 trillion, that's a tall task, tall ask for the stock. Okay, a tall ask. But for me, level of resistance on Tesla is, of course, this wonderful gap fill, right? It came out not the best earnings, not the best guidance. So if it comes back to that level, I would short it there. Consider a short. All right, Luis. Excuse me. Luis saying, hey there. Hi, Lawton. Hi, Luis. DCGEV topping out. All right. Let's go here. For me on GEV, I need to see more of a pattern. I mean, it does, right? And when we're looking at this, we do think, yes, it does favor a pullback. But the question is always where, when you're trading things at all-time highs, you're kind of stuck looking at levels of resistance through trend lines, fibs, and things like that, right? So up here, should it come up here to around 708, I would consider that to be major resistance. Of course, I do anticipate it pulling back before then, but it did just have earnings and popped off of positive earnings, right? Yeah, popped off of positive earnings. So yeah. But I do anticipate a rollover, but the question is when. It could continue higher. So Michael says, hi there. What's up, Michael? Can you do some analysis on Litecoin? CT, let's take a look at, let me see here. Litecoin, sure. Let me remove some of these drawings. What do you want to know about Litecoin? For me, this actually might be kind of bullish. Moving up and this sideways, this is actually bullish for me. Let's do this. Okay, kind of bullish for me. This could be bull flagging, right? But the most important thing to know is that it's following the price of Bitcoin, and you see Bitcoin breaking this upsloping trend line, kind of falling today. So if Bitcoin continues to fall, Litecoin will most likely fall as well. All right. Vin says, hi. Mind to share your view on BMNR? I can't. I've never traded this before. It's something that doesn't have a lot of shares usually traded. It looks like a potential like rug pull. This is very rug pulley. I anticipate it coming back down sub $10 actually. But I'm not comfortable like trading this. I would not trade this. I wouldn't even short it, even though I think it's going down, right? And the reason why is because this thing can move crazy, right? And there's no point to risk it. I'd rather just stay away from stocks like these. Pat says, happy Friday. What's going on, Pat? Happy Friday. Hello to everyone out there. Please suggest an entry point for PM long. PM Philip Morris. Yeah, coming down, breaking this nice gap fill that I had off of poor earnings, right? Or poor guidance, rather. For me on this, level of support entry for me is just under 154. That would be a level that I'd be interested in. Do this. Okay, that's a level that I'd be interested in trading. PM Philip Morris. All right. Next question. Andres says Gareth gave a good short on JPM at 296. Then he said a bear flag for him. Is the bear flag invalidated with the current new high? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's see what else we got. GV short. Yep. Has not gone well. Yeah, I think, again, on GEV, I do anticipate a pullback. The problem with shorting things at all-time highs is that you're kind of at the mercy of the overall market. So if the entire market's pullback, yeah, I foresee GEV coming back down. But according to my resistance levels, I have like 9% higher. I don't think it's going to go 9% higher. I think it should pull back ahead of time before that. But that's a level of resistance that I have on GEV. So I can only, all I do is just read the charts and tell you what I see, whether it's pretty or not, whether it's what we want to see or not is different, right? I can have a bias in my head, but if the chart is telling me one thing, then I have to just do my best. I have a responsibility to tell you what I see in the chart. Okay. So let's keep going. Aaron says, morning, Lawton. What's up, Aaron? Can you chart crypto ENA? Sure. Having trouble finding discernible patterns besides support and resistance. Yeah. So for me, first thing I see on ENA, this beautiful down-sloping trend line that it did break up from, a beautiful move up. Right now, this is interesting movement because it had a great day today, but then pulled back some. It's a smaller crypto, right? Not something not a cryptocurrency I'm too familiar with. Let's see if I can chart it. I have this beautiful down sloping trend line. Like if we break this, at any point, if we break this at any point, I think we're going to absolutely skyrocket. So I think we're going to absolutely skyrocket. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Let's see. Mateus says, hi, Lawton. Hope everything is well. It is well, Mateus. Hope everything is well with you as well. I was wondering if GEV is going to form a bull trap above the upsloping trend line, breaking the daily and weekly charts, connects through. Let's see. Connecting through April 24 high. All right, so let's see. April 24 high. Okay. April 24 high. Where are we dragging this to? Jan 25 high. Okay, I see that. Okay, yeah, I see that nice trend line that you have there. Now you're saying a bull trap. And what a bull trap would be, move up, get all the retail investors interested, and then pulling it down off of this trend line. Yeah, I could potentially see that, right? But it's kind of difficult to know if it's a bull trap. Unless it's happening. Next question. Pat says, would you suggest an entry long on NLY? Sure, let's take a look. For me, NLY, this is not something I've traded too much previously. For this NLY, let's see. We have a nice down sloping trend line here. Beautiful trend line there, actually. That could be breaking soon. Let's go over here. Have another one here. So a couple of down sloping trend lines that we're kind of contending with. Oh, it's going to do it a couple times. Always does. So if we break above this, I could definitely see a move higher. At least I'd be targeting 15-ish%. So it looks pretty bullish to me, actually. I don't know why, but if you're looking for a good entry point, right, you can enter in a couple places. And this is going to be a teachable moment. Okay, awesome. Let's get into it. So NLY coming down sloping trend line. I think that you can enter, if you wanted to, you can enter here. How do you enter down sloping trend lines? I cover this all the time. You can enter on a break or a retrace. So what that means is price goes above, you can enter on that break, or it says, say it comes down and retraces, you can enter down here as well. These are the two places that I would look to enter NLY if you were looking for a break and a confirmation of that down sloping trend line, right? Additionally, let's say you just want to get some skin in the game. Let's say it pulls back. You're able to get in if you want. Let's say it pulls back a little bit, just about 1 or 2%, 2015, this nice pivot low. You can get in there, get some skin in the game, and then you could say stop out 40 cents below or add to your position, whatever you wanted to do. All right. But those are some things that you could consider doing on NLY. But it looks good. I really want to see it break this. If it can break these trend lines, I'm expecting a truly explosive move to the upside. All right, next question. Esther says, hello, dear. What's going on, Esther? Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you again. I entered Nvidia today. All right. I entered Nvidia today at 173. Please let me know if this is a good support level going before it goes up higher. For me, my level on Nvidia actually would probably be over here around 171 if I was looking for at least a day trade, right? But to 173, you're already a dollar in the money. Here's what you could do on Nvidia, right? Nvidia is running into some resistance, as you see from this nice trend line. Let me just make it perfect. I'm kind of like insane when it comes to this. It needs to be perfect. So if you're in a 173, you want to make some money, that's fine. You're likely to find resistance up here around 174. But if you can break above this, you could potentially continue higher. But I do feel that Nvidia favors a pullback. For me, I wouldn't be too terribly comfortable entering a long position until somewhere around $164. But I mean, if you're in it already, just make sure you set a couple stop losses, protect yourself, right? The worst thing you want to that can happen is you think this is a great level, you get in, and then you think it's going to go up eventually, and you just hold it, and it just keeps falling, right? Then you're just opening yourself up to significant downside. That's why, for me at least, in swing trading particularly, it's very important to have a good risk to reward ratio, right? Like for Nvidia, my upside is around 175, right? So I'm looking for 0.5%. I probably would stop out if it came down like, I don't know, I wouldn't even look for that, right? But let's say you entered at 173, then you're looking at around a 1.5% upside, which is perfectly fine, particularly for a day trade. I'd probably stop out, a dollar out of the money just to protect myself. But that's just how I trade. You're free to use your own judgment and discernment to trade however you want. Okay. Next question. Sahil says, how much money can we expect by full-time trading? Can someone like you guys can go to $1 million a year? Well, it really depends, right? It takes money to make money, right? You hear that all the time, and particularly for trading. Actually, I'm going to turn this into we don't have a golden question anymore. Quintessential question. Okay, so how much money can I expect to make trading? It depends. Are you day trading? Are you swing trading? Right? How much money do you have to trade with? Right? There are tons and tons and tons of different factors to consider when you're talking about this. And the first thing you need to think about is day trading or swing trading. What's your target? You said you want to make $1 million a year. But let's say you have $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 in your trading account. Are you going to expect to make 10x, 20x, whatever it is on your portfolio in a year? Probably not, right? And here's what I would say our target is, right? Using kind of conservative numbers. For our day trading, based on our performance, we are approximately seeing about a 10+% return on investment each month, right? So that's without compounding. So that means that, let's say I have 100K, put 100K in day trading, and I start day trading. And every time I take a profit, I withdraw that money. Then at the end of the month, you should have made $10,000 on a 100K account. Over the course of a full year, you're looking with that average to make around 120% of your portfolio return, right? And that's assuming you can take every single trade and you follow everything perfectly. Tons and tons of different things that need to be, but let's just call it like that, okay? So if you wanted to make $1 million, you would probably need $1 million to start with, right? So anyways. But if you're swing trading is a little more difficult to calculate the anticipated return. But again, we're looking somewhere around there to make a 60 to 100% return on portfolio over the course of a year. Swing trading, but it's really depends, right? So it's hard for me, Sahil, to tell you exactly how much money or how you can make $1 million a year, right? All I can do is point you to our statistics, our proven statistics, and I wouldn't lie to you about that, right? Every single trade is verified, so you can see kind of how realistic or not it is for you to make X amount of money. Okay. Next question says, Johnson says, can you do some analysis for Doge? Doge, yeah. So for Doge, look at this. I had this nice breakout and then a retrace. I'm going to look to go long on a retrace to this line, wherever it is, approximately 15% lower. That's where I would be comfortable going long on DOGE USDT, right? I've talked about these trend lines all the time. Move up, move down. You can enter on the break or you can enter on the retrace, or in this case, you could do both. Who knows? It might even work. Is Nvidia a good short here? I think Nvidia looks like it favors a pullback, right? But again, and I say this all the time, guys, I've been wrong before, and I'm going to be wrong 100 times again. All I can do is give you the probabilities. Do I anticipate a pullback in Nvidia and the broader markets? Yes. When is that going to happen? Feels like now is a good time, but could continue higher. But I do anticipate a pullback, right? So I just have to be honest with you guys. But I'm currently short the semiconductors. So in a way, yes, I'm currently like short Nvidia. So indirectly, but so that means I believe Nvidia is going to fall, right? So, but I could be wrong. Andrea says Caterpillar. Yeah, Caterpillar is going crazy, and I talked about this before, guys. And you might not have been here. Where are the levels of resistance? Look at this beautiful trend line that I have. And unfortunately, if that trend line these trend lines are going to serve as resistance, that means Caterpillar could go 5 to 7% higher, right? 5 to 7% higher. And yeah. Until it faces some resistance. But again, this is like every other stock I've talked about, right? It's at all-time highs. It continues to push higher. You're talking about a straight vertical move up from liberation down lows, up 60%, almost 61% in a straight line. Do I think it's going to pull back? Yes. Where is it going to pull back? That's the question, right? But I have to tell you that probabilities favor a pullback. Just like when it fell, probabilities favored a bounce, right? Now here's the thing about Caterpillar. It's going to come down to earnings, right? It does have earnings in 11 days. So if Caterpillar has bad earnings or earnings that are not that good, it's going to absolutely, I believe, collapse. So, yeah. It has to have amazing earnings or else this thing is going to come down tumbling. So that's what I would wait for. Cup says, hi, I'm worried about some of my short positions. Sure, that's fair. I think it depends on a stock by stock basis. Cup. So if you send me, something you want analysis on, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about those. Right, but unless you give me any specific stocks, it's hard for me to give you any sort of guidance or opinion, right? Again, this is not financial advice. I'm just a pro trader here, just trying to help. Peggy, what's up, Peggy? Do you see SoFi stock moving upward and having potential in the future? Yeah, so SoFi is pretty beaten down, right? You're talking about from all-time highs. It's down about 25%, although it's gone on this beautiful Liberation Day run, was up 167%. I still believe that it could favor a pullback. Now, where is it likely to pull back? I have these two X marks the spot. You see these beautiful upsloping trend lines, and you have these levels of resistance, pivot high, all-time high, right? But do I think it could keep going higher? That's a great question. Let me take a look at the chart, give you some analysis. Now, this could have been the beginning of a nice head and shoulders pattern, but not quite valid, right? Not quite valid for me. Not quite valid for me, just because of this nice little candle down. So here's what you want to see, right? If you think it's going to go up, then you could say, I want this to bull flag. I want this to, what you want to see is kind of had sideways consolidation to the downside, right? And then once it breaks above here, you want it to move up 14, 15%, 16% up here to this 2462 level. Okay, Peggy? So it could, I think it could, but I need to wait for more data, right? I'm a data-based trader, right? So I don't care too much about, external factors, right? I'll acknowledge they're there, but I can only tell you what I see in the charts. And right now, you don't have enough data for me to tell you this is a bull flag yet. All right. Next question. Palantir shorts. What do you think about Palantir? Yeah, for Palantir, had this beautiful upsloping trend line. You saw how I drew that. And that should have been level of resistance. In fact, it bounced off of it and then closed below, but now it's pushed higher above it. Now the question is, where is Palantir going to pull back? And that's it's a great question. Again, it's kind of difficult for me to tell you exactly where it's going to pull back because I'm just doing my best to find levels. But it very well could. You saw it pierced 160 and then pulled back. So it could have been this 160 level, could be level resistance. But also, what do we know? We know that quarter numbers are significant psychological levels. So around 175 could be a good psychological level for a pullback. Unfortunately, that's about 9 or 10% higher, right? So it'd be surprising for me if for the exit.
Mm-hmm. Did you get filled? Because I see it just tagged at 770. Sorry.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Sorry about that. I'm going to trade with the live day trading room. I'm filled. All right. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm in a trade in the live day trading room. So Palantir could want that 175 level, but I do anticipate a pullback ahead of time, right? It's kind of difficult for me to say exactly and pinpoint to the penny where Palantir may want to pull back. But this is a company that's has a cult following, right? Like if you ask 100 people who trade it what it actually does, right? Like what does Palantir actually do? It's kind of difficult. People don't know what Palantir does. So I've traded it plenty of times, and I have no idea what Palantir does. Right. So David says, hi, Lawton. What's up, David? I'm in PALL. Okay. In the money, where do you see a trend in it, up or down? Do you see it as a buy, sell, or hold? So it depends if you're long or short. I don't know, but I'll tell you where I anticipate support. I think PAL could come down about 6% lower down here to around just under a pierce of 105, right? Could definitely see it hitting a pierce of 105. But if you're looking at resistance, I'd be looking at resistance likely here around 5% higher at just above pierce of 117. You have these two beautiful gap fills. You have another one here, right? That could provide some level of minor support, around 2% lower. But these are my levels of support and resistance on Palladium. This PALL. Okay, I'm going to try and go a little faster, guys. I know that we had some technical difficulties earlier, so I do apologize for that. So I'm going to try and go a little bit faster, and I'll stay on a little bit longer to make up for that if you guys want, because I'd love to get to all of your questions. I know there's so many of you guys in here, and I really appreciate you guys coming in and ask questions. Oh, and before I forget, we'd really appreciate it if you went and gave Verified Investing on YouTube a subscription, gave this a like. I mean, it helps me know that this is content that you guys enjoy, that you guys appreciate, that you guys want more of. And it helps let us know that you're interested in what you see. You can also check out so much more cool exclusive content on that Verified Investing YouTube channel. All right, back to the questions. Amit says, when the S&P is at all-time highs with the resistance, but some stocks are breaking out of their lows, is it advisable to get in on beaten down stocks that are breaking resistance if there's a risk of S&P pulling about 5% more? Well, yeah, I mean, take a look at I'm trying to think here. Dunkin' Donuts was so beaten down. Stocks that are all-time highs. This is kind of a meme play, but it pushed up, and then fell significantly, right? Let's take a look at Decker Outdoors. This is a company that was so beaten down on the charts. You see this? So beaten down on the charts going into earnings. Even though S&P is in resistance, this was still at a great buy level. And what did it do on earnings? It moved up 21%, pulling back a bit now, about 7%, actually at a shortable level over here, but that I made a video about yesterday. So if you took my shortable level from yesterday, you could have made a lot of money day trading. But regardless, I think that it's okay to trade stocks that are beaten down, that you think are breaking out, that have a potential for upside despite the broader markets pulling back. Because if something is at its lows when the markets are at its absolute peaks, what's the likelihood that fall is going to bring it down even more, right? If the push up in the markets didn't help these stocks, these companies catch a bid, what makes you think that pressure from the markets are going to put more pressure on these stocks, right? Anyways, Andrea says, appreciate your show very much. Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for asking questions. I really appreciate your guys' questions. Without your questions, I would just be a guy here by myself talking to myself. And that's how I felt in the first 5-10 minutes of this show, because you guys couldn't ask questions. Anyways, Mancol says, hi, Lauren. What's up, Mancol? Can you please check CRV? Let's check out CRV. Do you consider this a bullish flag or a time count? It's not a time count. I think this is a bullish flag. I would say it's a bullish flag. Nice move up, some nice sideways consolidation. But this is not something I've traded before. But if I had to guess, bullish consolidation. I mean, it says on the 10-year yield, I see 10. Yield, TLT, LT. TL. It's a 10-year yield. I don't remember the ticker for that. Hold on, let me look it up. Year yield. US 10. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, on the US 10-year yield, you said I see an inverse head and shoulder with a wedge pattern. Let's see. Well, I definitely see potentially your nice little wedge here, right? You're talking about something like this. right? Nice wedge. One of Dr. B's favorite, the wedge master himself. As far as this inverse head and shoulders, I do see it as well, right? You're talking about inverse head and shoulders, probably here to here, right? Talking about something like, however you want to draw it, something like this. Like, let me undo that. Let me draw it again. Something like this. Right, that is a valid head and shoulders pattern. It retraced to that neckline. That measured move is approximately, and let's find that out where that measured move would be a move up about 6% higher. The way I would play this personally I'd play the wedge, right? This time count, this inverse head and shoulders is kind of small and already broke out and retraced back under it. I'm not interested in this inverse head and shoulders. I think that the wedge takes precedence over that personally. Elon says, why are you heavy on the stocks? Are you predicting a pullback on the semis? Yes, 100%. Yes, I am, Elon. Suncop says, where do you see some sort of resistance on AMD? PS, you're doing an amazing service to us, retailers with daily AMAs. Of course, thank you so much for your kind words, Suncop. I'm glad that you're enjoying my show. Just doing my best. Yeah, so where do I see resistance on AMD? AMD was so beaten down when Nvidia was at its highs. AMD is still down there. You're saying that AMD is still down over 27% from its all-time highs, despite all these semis, despite the entire markets being at all-time highs. Where is this going to likely pull back? Look at this, where it is. Perfect gap fill. That's where it pulled back. There's going to be resistance there, as you can see where it's trading today. And additionally, this 174.09 level, pivot high, nice level of resistance. This nice gap fill around 177.33, and over here around 187.38. These are the levels of resistance that I have on advanced micro devices. Okay. And if you ever want to go back, you can pause, go back, rewatch the videos. They're posted on YouTube. You're probably watching on YouTube. So anyways, all right, guys, I have 3 more minutes. I'm going to stay a little longer. I'll stay an extra 5 minutes to answer a couple of your questions, okay? But I'm going to try and go a little bit faster. So I apologize. TR is a good point to get into a long trade, not particularly for me. TER, Teradyne, my level for a long is 87.34. Right, 87.34 would be my first level to get in, and then again around just a pierce of $83. Andrea said, good or bad idea to short Meta with it head and shoulders forming as you discussed yesterday? Yeah, this nice head and shoulders pattern. Is it a good or bad idea? I mean, you could short it, right? But the problem is, what's the measured move? What's the expected value of shorting something like this? Let's say it did break down. You're looking at an estimated move down only 10%. Generally, with swing trades, you're looking for at least 15% profit, right? Yeah, we'll take 10% every day of the week, right? But it's also trying to break out of this down sloping trend line, trying to make new all-time highs. I personally, if it got back to double top, I'd consider shorting it right around 750. Okay. But I would wait until earnings, because earnings are in 5 days. I'm not interested in trading anything into earnings. You guys know this. I don't go long or short into earnings. I play the moves afterwards, right? I'm not in the habit of gambling on stocks. If I want to gamble, I'll go to the casino. I'll count some cards. I'll play some blackjack. JC says, afternoon. What's up, JC? Baba. Let's see. Baba? I'm bullish on Baba. Broke up from this down-sloping trend line. Would re-enter on a retrace to this down-sloping trend line. Down here around 117, but I'm bullish. SUI USDT. Sure, on SUI you had this nice pivot high and these 2 levels of resistance pulled back, right? Now kind of potentially making a bullish pattern, right? Move up, this kind of sideways consolidation. If you can break up and out of this, it could be bullish for the stock. But generally, with most of these altcoins, you're likely going to run into the price being decided by the price of Bitcoin, right? Except for today, SUI is up and Bitcoin's down pretty decently, about 2.5%. So, okay, next off. Charlene says, hi, Lawton. What's up, Charlene? I hope you're doing well. Do you think it's a good idea to enter long trade, swing trade on Love now, LUV? No, I think it's actually going to look kind of bearish, to be honest. Down move, I'm expecting sideways consolidation and then a move higher, right? This looks like the beginning of a bear flag. My entry would be $31.33. Of course, if you wanted to enter a long, here's how I would do it. I'd enter a long right here and I'd put a stop loss down here at around $32.35, about 75 cents lower from our entry, just to really protect ourselves from downside. Say, okay, LUV Southwest has been beating down. I'm going to look for a 10% profit and I'm going to risk, say, 2% of my portfolio, right? That's a really good 5 to 1 risk to reward ratio, 1 to 5 risk to reward ratio. Going a little foul. I already went over Caterpillar. And I did go over Palantir already as well, unfortunately. I already went through these. So hopefully you saw that. Andres, can you look at 3M? 3M. Yeah, 3M is pretty beaten up on the charts. This down move this is not a bear flag because it would have to go upward or sideways to kind of be a bearish flag. This actually looks like it favors a bounce, right? Could be starting to get that bounce now with this nice up move. If we can close above this and push higher, I can see 6 or 7% to the upside on 3M. And you see that they fell off of earnings. My uncle says, hey, Lon, what if someone follows the winning trader series? Do you think it's conservative to expect 10% profit on portfolio? Yeah, I think you'll easily get above 10% profit on your portfolio. 100%. Easily. PH, can you do analysis of SoFi in the future? I did already look at SoFi, and I said that SoFi for me looks like it's potentially making a bull flag, but you need some more data. Okay. Andreas says for JPM, could yesterday's daily candle be considered topping deal? Yes. San Club said, hey again, I was wondering if you guys get into all your positions with swing trading using leverage. I had doubt because this is aggregate. Yeah, we'll use up to 200% of our portfolio in swing trading. Ethereum didn't move down as much as Bitcoin last night. Is dominance rotating? My concern is to cover my short position on hype. Thank you. I'm not an expert on dominance, Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum dominance, anything like that. So I would not be the right person to ask about that. I apologize, but I can look at hype for you, and hype actually looks pretty bearish, breaking this nice upsloping trend line, right? Retracing to it today. So this is what I was talking about. You can either enter on a breakdown or a retrace, but you want to see a close below and then a move lower. For me, my target for this would be about 15% to the downside. Trying to go a little faster, guys. About 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it. Do you believe in Pengu crypto? I mean, they're cool, pudgy penguins. I mean, I think they're cool. I saw them in Target, right? They're selling toys. What's the resistance, or you mean support? Resistance is up here around 40, about 4.6 cents. Support should be somewhere around here, around 3 cents. Okay. Wow, tons of questions. Stock Trading Diary says, can you check HTZ? So many questions, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, even though I'm extending our time a little longer. I had this nice upsloping trend line. I think it looks bearish for me, Hertz. But also, and look at this beautiful head and shoulders pattern that I had on Hertz. But the thing is, Hertz is at the lows of the chart, so it could be a nice pickup. Oh, man. Hi, Luis wants to know how to send me a chart over TradingView. Sure, you click here on the top right. It says click a take a snapshot, and then click here. It says copy link. Okay, copy link, and then you just paste that in the chart. Guys, there's so many questions. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. There's way too many questions. I got to call it here because I need to eat. I have to go back to the live day trading room in 10 minutes. I'm not even going to be able to eat lunch, right? And I'm so sorry. I see so many questions, and I really appreciate your questions. I really appreciate you guys coming back every single day and asking me questions. But the great thing about this is that I'll be back. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not Sunday, right? But I'll be back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week from 12:30 to 1:15. If you absolutely have some really pressing questions that you want me to answer, I'd be happy to do so. You can send them to me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Lawton Investing. So it's just my name, at Lawton Investing on Twitter. You can DM me, give me a follow, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. If you want to send me a chart, I can do some back and forth. I'm not going to answer questions. I'm not going to answer questions on the weekend. Probably I can try a little bit, but no promises. Okay. Thank you so much for watching my show, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your trading day, and have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all bright and early on Monday, same time, same place, 12:30. Have a good one. Take it easy, guys. Bye bye.